Sandra Cisneros is a Mexican-American poet, short story writer, novelist, essayist, performer, and artist. She is one of the first Mexican-American women to achieve mainstream success in the United States and abroad. Sandra Cisneros was born in Chicago in 1954 to a Mexican father and Chicana mother. She is the third child in the family, being the only daughter, and has 6 brothers. Growing up, her family would frequently move, so she would always feel a sense of loneliness, because she would never have enough time to make close friends, and she would also feel excluded from her siblings, since she was the only girl, which all led to her interest in reading and writing.
The library was the first place I found that was quiet. You know, when you grow up with 9 people and TVs and radio and brothers making a lot of noise, I was astonished that there was a place that there was a rule you had to be quiet, and that the light was beautiful, and the furniture was made for children, and that there were easels to put your book up on. It was the first time I found a room of my own that was made for thinking and for the imagination. So you can imagine that it meant a lot to me to go to the library. It was finally a place where I could feel that I belonged, and in a way that maybe sometimes children feel a little bit displaced with their surroundings. I felt like that in Chicago. But when I stepped into our library and saw the big French windows and the beautiful glass block floors and the quietness of the space, I felt at home. My education in Chicago began in public schools for the first year and a half, and then we switched to Catholic schools simply because the neighborhoods I grew up in required us to go to school that had a little more discipline. I think that my education was rather spotty because we moved a lot, and there wasn't any continuity to my education. So sometimes I would be with one school where classes were doubled up and overcrowded, and then we would switch and go to another school, and I had to catch up with progress from the last school. So, because of that disruption of my education, it really depended on what teacher and what school I was at as to how well I did. And by the time I got to 5th grade, I had a report card that was full of C's and D's, but I don't remember being a poor student. I just remember being frightened in that class and never knowing where we were when the teacher called on me. I remember that it was a class that was doubled up with 2 grades. It was overcrowded. Probably the teacher had to take care of too many students and do too many things with too many different levels. Maybe that's why I was distracted. And it was only as an adult looking back that I saw my grades were that poor. I do remember that was the same year that I was asked to bring my mother to school, and the teacher complained I was a daydreamer.
Sandra Cisneros studied at Loyola University of Chicago, and received a bachelor's in English, and studied at the University of Iowa, and received a Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing. Some common themes in her work are related to feminism, love, religion, and oppression in society. Much of her work is inspired by her personal experiences, observing her community and those around her. She has worked as a creative arts teacher from all grade levels except 1st grade and below, and has been a counselor to high school dropouts. She has been a college recruiter and arts administrator. Along with her many paths, she has been a visiting writer to many colleges. She has visited the University of California, Berkeley, and the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, to name a few. She is the leader of the non-profit organization the Macondo Foundation, a foundation that supports the new uprising writers in their communities and make their writings have a larger impact than they may have had on someone's life. She is also a member of Mujeres por la Paz, which is a women's peace group. Sandra Cisneros has been the recipient of many awards. She has been awarded NEA fellowships in poetry and fiction, the MacArthur Fellowship, the Texas Medal of the Arts, honorary doctorates, and national and international book awards. She has been also awarded Chicago's 5th Star Award, the Penn Center USA Literary Award, and the Fairfax Prize. In 2015, she received the National Medal of the Arts awarded to her by President Obama.